morning, viewers. I just want to say it's a beautiful day. Every day you wake up, as long as you're above ground, you have the choice. We all have a choice to have a great day. I had a situation that happened last night where I'll go into when I was 9 years old, my dad took his life, and it plummeted the rest of at least 30 years of my life in a whole nother direction that was very it was very trying. And for a lot of that, we had a lot of families that were close with my parents, and I felt as though they kind of abandoned us because I don't know if they thought this mental illness and, and of course we were screwed up. I mean, we were in the same home when my dad shot himself and took his life. And so as a kid, we felt abandoned, or I did, I'll speak for myself, felt abandoned by those are the only people we knew. And, so anyways, I was out, at a local place here in Raytown, and I ran into one of, my parents' oldest friends, and, I can still see his wife. I ran into him. I can still see his wife while I'm laying on my granny and grandpa's floor, which was next door. Their house was next door to ours. So when it happened, we all were gathered over at my grandparents'. And I remember his wife rubbing my back the entire night, rubbing my back until I fell asleep. And of course, as a 9-year-old, I thought that we would wake up the next day and go see him in the hospital. So my brain could not process what actually happened. So when I saw him last night, he didn't recognize me. I recognized him right away. And so I didn't say anything. At first I didn't say anything, and then after a while I thought, okay, I am going to say something. And I said, do you recognize me? And he said no. And I said, are you sure? And he said no. And I said, Molly Flannery. And he said, oh my gosh, you're so bright and shiny. And immediately, of course, I said, that's my mom. Because and Jesus, who resides in me, we are the light of the world because of him. And we're the ones that are still here. And he chooses, God has always chosen the ones that nobody else would ever expect to be chosen. I mean, through those 30 years of my life that I was a total wretched mess. I mean, if you could say every sin, I was a thief, I was a liar, I did drugs, I ran around with people who didn't give about me, I ran from my family, and honestly, I did not like myself. So anyways, we went into the conversation, and of course when I came home after all of this, I had a flood of emotions because PTSD is something that is, oh my gosh, there must be a huge wreck. Oh my gosh. PTSD can creep up on you at any time. And when you experience a traumatic situation, situation like that as a child, the process of it as an adult is, and only because I've experienced a couple PTSD moments within these last, well, really within this last year. But I was able to have a really good cry. Because I know my parents are very proud of me. I know that I'm living one of the best lives. God saved me for a reason. I tried to end my life. I could be labeled like, I see a psychiatrist. I have always had mental health issues. Now it's gotten better, but that's also because my attitude changed. The people, places changed. My attitude changed, and I also started speaking positive things to myself. And I do not believe anything negative about myself. I push those out every single time. I always come back with something that God has to say about me, and He always has good things to say about me. If you are listening to negative things in your head, that's not God. That is the devil. And pray that, Jesus will continue to teach you about yourself and how to love yourself. Anyways, this was just a little tad bit about life situations and how you can process them. And I believe by the way I did, and then I came home and I was by myself and talking to God and just believing that everything happens for a reason. 30 some odd years later, just very grateful to be alive. Have a great day.